Well, hello, welcome back to Commission Reviews, the queen of all reality TV. I have a special guest. Dr. Zoe is here. Oh my goodness, I'm just gonna keep on pushing. Don't worry about it. Um,
Okay.
um. Oh, there we go. So, Dr. Zoe, who's very intelligent and very astute, I'm gonna say this right here, has a book out, and I didn't get it in time to deal stronger in the difficult places. Wow, that title is super heavy. I'm gonna have her a link to it in the description so you guys can actually go get her book. I support, especially when black women do books. That's about mental health, healing, and growing. It's very important to me that we talk about these things and share them for everybody to read because you might be helping somebody else. Who knows, right?
Right.
So we got together, obviously talking about the show that unlocked family secrets and everything on Own Network. Which shout out to Own for doing this type of show. I was really surprised, blown away, because it's very heavy, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want you to tell your story because it is your story, please.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
first,
as much as you can say, because I know the show has an air, so I know how that goes. I don't want you to get yourself caught in no hot water. Just basically, the book is out, so you can talk about your book. You ain't got to get too
yeah.
much detail of the show. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, there we go. Go ahead. And what did you want to
Well,
say? I'm sorry.
first, Kamisha, I want to thank you for having me on today. So I just appreciate the honor of being on your show today. So thank you for that.
Not a
Um,
problem.
yeah. So will this air before or after the episode?
Probably before, the same way I
Okay.
did with Miss Heather. Yes.
Okay. So I probably don't want to give away all of the secrets, but what I can tell you is that, I wrote this book, Stronger in the Difficult Places,
Mhm.
because of the shame secret that
Mm.
I held for so long. And in that process of having held a secret for, 20,
Yes.
30 years,
Mhm.
finally being able to release it and understanding the shame that I was experiencing. And here's the thing. So Tarana Burke wrote a book called oh, what's the name of the book? I'm blanking on it. Um I can't remember right now. It is
Okay.
a anthology. And in the anthology, oh, thank you, my book, yeah. So in
Mhm.
the anthology, she talked about a type of shame that was not alleviated by the Brene Brown idea of how to alleviate shame, right? She said, I've done all those things. My shame still doesn't go away.
Mm.
And Brene Brown actually did a forward in her book. And in the forward, Brene Brown said, I know my research is solid. And Brene Brown, by the way, is the leading researcher on shame. And she said, I know that my research is solid and I know that it's good. She said, but lived experience trumps research. And
Mm.
so she acknowledged that there's something going on here, right?
Mhm.
That I haven't been able to identify or see in my research. Probably a big part of it was the type of people she was researching
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
they probably weren't diverse. And so when Tarana Burke talked about this type of shame, I began to go, what as a researcher myself, as a clinician, I
Mhm.
began to go, okay, what's going on here? What is this type of shame? Because I identify with it myself. And
Mhm.
so I began to study and try to figure out what it is, which is why I called it complex shame, because it is a type of shame that many in the marginalized community as well have. And it's not alleviated by just talking about it and it going away. Right. Because when you
Mm.
receive external compassion, there's a part of you that's like, ah, but you don't know. You don't really understand. If you knew my story, you wouldn't give me that compassion. And then the other thing that happens with people in marginalized communities is they talk about their vulnerability. They may talk about their shame and then they're gaslit about it. They're
Mm.
told, oh, that didn't really happen. You misunderstood. You're over exaggerating. You're playing the whatever card,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so
Mhm.
then your shame just goes deeper.
Mm.
So that is how I came to talk about complex shame in this book. And through my story, the Oprah Winfrey Network found me and asked me
Oh
if I would be
wow.
willing to share it on the documentary. And so, it was an amazing experience because I live in California. I've lived in California now for 31 years.
Okay.
But we flew back to my hometown, back to my high school, walked on the track where I ran,
Wow.
went to the places that a lot of the secrets began. And I told my story in many ways through the eyes of that little girl back in Maryland.
Mm.
Um, and it was a really wonderful experience. Thankful that the healing has already happened, and
Right.
so I'm the place to tell the story.
Wow. So OWN contacted you. Is it because of your book? Is that the reason why?
No, I believe that they heard me on a podcast,
Okay.
and that's how they found me. Because my book actually got written. I was writing it while they contacted me, so
Oh
it
my
didn't
God.
actually get fully done and not even published till 2 weeks ago. So
What?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but the thing about, I know you don't want to give away what happens on the actual documentary show, but can you give us somewhat of what happened? Because the book is live now, right? People can read it.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The basic, I guess the not the whole meat and potatoes, but maybe a lighter version of the meal.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I can share the whole story with you because
Yes,
I
please.
share it on stage. I talk about it in podcasts, and obviously I share it in my book.
Very
So
courageous. Very courageous.
I mean, I grew up a black girl in an all white farming community in Hagerstown,
Woo.
Maryland.
Wow.
So it didn't start out that way. Part of my childhood was in Washington D.C. A very diverse, place. And then
Yes, it is.
when I was 8 years old, we moved to this farming community amongst Mennonites and the Amish, and I went to school, with people who were Mennonites in this
Mhm,
private
mhm.
Christian school, and that's where I first understood that my color was something that other people thought wasn't good.
Mm,
And in that process of being raised in that community, I developed what I call racial identity shame.
mm.
Didn't have a name for it, didn't have a language for it.
Okay.
But anyway, fast forward, when I was 15, I got pregnant. Now, I
Okay.
also grew up in a very fundamental Christian home. My dad was a
Mm.
prominent doctor in the community. And when I told my parents about the pregnancy, which I hid for a long time, and actually, I never actually told my parents about the
Oh my
pregnancy.
God.
You can
Mhm.
read about it in the book
Yes,
or
yes.
listen to it in the podcast, I mean, in the episode on
Mm,
OWN. But anyway, when they found out, they basically said, no, this is not happening here,
mm.
not in our family, right? And
Right.
so they sent me home away to Virginia to a pregnancy home with the understanding that I would come back without a child.
I've never heard of
And
that. Well, I'm sorry, what's a
yes,
pregnancy home? I didn't think that even
it's a home
existed.
for pregnant women. Yes. And this one in particular was
Wow.
run by Jerry Falwell, Thomas Road Baptist Church, and attached to it is an adoption agency. And the understanding was that I would go there and come back without a child.
Mm,
And I was a very, compliant adolescent,
mm.
and I
Yeah.
did exactly what was told, and I gave birth unmedicated in a hospital in Virginia, and
Mm.
I left my baby in the hospital and went back home to pretend like nothing happened. And that's where
Oh
my
my
deep
God.
shame started.
Mm,
And I buried all my grief, all my trauma, all my guilt. I didn't have words or language for any of that.
mm.
And I did that for many years. And part of the way that I sabotaged myself, and when I talk about sabotage, it's really just how you hurt yourself, right? And we
Okay.
hurt ourselves in different
Yes.
ways. But I was running so hard for my shame, and I did that as by overachieving, by
Mhm.
doubling down on academics, by doubling down on athletics. I, did well academically. I got did so well athletically. I still have records in Maryland
Mm.
in track, and I got a scholarship to UCLA,
Wow. Impressive.
and ran there and got my bachelor's degree, and then I got my master's degree, and then I went on and got my doctorate degree in clinical
Wow.
psychology. And it wasn't until later when my first kept daughter,
Mhm.
was born with a very rare genetic disorder, that my shame dam kind of broke and
Mhm. Okay.
everything began to kind of fall apart in my life. By the way, I married very early at 19 also to
Yeah.
kind of try to exonerate myself, and married someone that I should not have married.
Mm.
But when my first kept daughter came along and she was born with this very rare genetic disorder, we didn't know what was wrong with her, but she was in the NICU. We didn't know if she was going to live or die,
Oh,
but we
no.
knew something was very wrong.
Wow.
Um, and I created the story in my head that I was being punished by God because of what
Mm.
I had done before,
Right.
giving my first daughter away, and that my daughter that I was keeping was being punished.
Oh,
And so that's
no.
where my shame spiral really began to
Mhm.
happen. But fast forward, it was many years, and I don't need to give the whole thing
Right,
away.
right, right, of course.
But I did eventually come to a place of overcoming that
Mhm.
shame, and even naming the shame. And now I help other people name their
Yes.
shame and overcome their shame, both in my work as a therapist and also in my book.
Wow, that is So, of course, me being a black woman myself, I had my firstborn when I was 19, 20, whatever it was, and
Mm,
from my parents, they felt like I was 15. I wasn't,
yes,
but
yes.
I was a virgin, and so for my
Mhm.
parents, it was a big deal. So I'm hearing you talk. My dad
Yeah.
literally cried when I was pregnant. So
Mm.
I 100% understand. But the whole, I've never heard of that. I thought it was like 1950s when they did that, sent you
It sounds
away.
like it, right? Yeah.
Like 1945, they send you away and whatever. That's my heart goes out to you that you had to experience that and wasn't able to heal from the situation because you do mourn.
Oh,
Many women have given
yes.
their child up for adoption or whatever on their own accord as
Right.
adults, and then you were at an age where you were so young, development, you were still developing, you wasn't a woman yet. So that's heavy. And I give you a lot of love, encouragement when I say that what you're doing, turning that into what you're doing now, is a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. It really
Mhm.
is. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to hear this, whether it be here, or the podcast you're doing, or your book. It's going to change their lives, and I love that for you because it's healing for you as well to know you're probably helping somebody else. You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
does your I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say this. How did your family feel about you putting this on TV? It's one your parents especially.
That's a very good question. That was, a lot of difficult conversations.
Oh.
So,
Mm.
yeah, I love my mom dearly, and what I hope in both the book and the other work that I do, that comes across clearly. She made the very best decision she could in that moment with what she
Right.
knew and understood in her entire history.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know that it was the best decision, but she made the best she could.
Okay.
And so, it never feels good for people to, in many ways, I hate that the phrase air your dirty laundry.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
But culturally and also, even in the time that my mom came from, people don't do that.
Yep.
And so for me to do that in many ways does feel like a breach.
Mm.
So it's hard, it's hard, but I do have a very strong belief that I own my story.
Mm.
And so,
Yes.
because of everything and all the decades that I haven't owned my
Right.
story,
Right.
that
Oh
is
yeah.
something that's a big driver of mine. But I don't just own my story to hurt anybody, right?
Mhm.
I
Of
don't
course.
own my story in any way. And I feel nothing but love for everyone in my family and any part of, any of them that were a part of this. I own my story to help other women own theirs, to help
Mm.
other women speak up, because I know the freedom that happens when you finally do. And I understand that this
Yes.
burden that you carry for years and you make up these stories about what will happen if you share,
Mm.
if you talk about that thing, if you
Right.
tell. And the reality and what I want people out there to listen to hear who may have a shame story, and
Mhm.
most of us have a shame story,
Yes.
is that when you finally speak the truth, nothing happens. All
Mm.
of those things that you make up in your head that are going to happen, nothing happens. And part of the reason is because nobody really cares.
Hmm.
Not that they don't care about you, but
Right.
nobody really cares about this thing that you create as this huge thing. And so people think about it. They might talk about you for 5 minutes, right? But then they're going to go back
To
to
something
thinking
else.
about their own shame
Right.
story,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Right.
focusing on something else. And so it's not worth it to damage ourselves, to damage our lives, to do what shame wants us to do, which is to hide.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. And that's what it is. Are you nervous or because the thing about it hasn't aired yet, and
Right.
I think that once it airs, your family's going to speak out, whether it's positive or negative. Someone's going to say something because it's all kids and giggles until it's on
It's on
network,
TV.
right? And then you
Yeah.
have people watching it, sharing it, or talking about it on Facebook, whatever it might look like. And people who've never been in reality TV or haven't dealt in this entertainment field,
Yeah.
their reaction would probably be a little different because it's like, wait a minute, because I'm coming from a Southern family as well. If I air something out
Yes.
about my family, Louisiana, oh my God, it would be a lot, and people would be mad
Yes.
at me. I already know that
Yes.
they'd be upset with me, call my phone, watch dudes, whatever. So, are you ready for that?
Yes, I am.
You're very
I've
strong.
had yeah, I've had a lot of my own personal therapy. I've done
Oh wow, okay.
extensive work on myself in order
Mhm.
to get to a place where I truly believe I own my story. Now, that being said, I have complete agency over writing my story in my book, right? When I
Mhm.
speak to you or I speak on a stage, I have complete agency.
Okay.
The only thing that gives me a little bit of pause with this show is that I don't have agency. I don't know
Ah,
how they're going to put it
oh,
together.
the
I don't
narrative. Yes.
know. Yeah, I cannot control that narrative. Obviously, I controlled everything I said to them, but we know how things can get
Yes,
edited in
ma'am.
an
Yes,
interesting
ma'am.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've already seen the trailers. So, um, that is the only thing that I feel a little bit, I don't know what the word, there's just like a little bit of trepidation about
Okay.
it.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see what they do. I've heard they've done amazing things with the other stories. And so I trust that the story will be told well. And if not, I'm still here and I can clarify.
100%. And I bet you will. I'm on live right now because I did. I'm gonna be honest. The other episodes have been really good. Very
Mhm.
very tasteful. I couldn't stop watching the
Mm,
episode, and the way they would end it, they follow up. It was very good. So I expect
yeah.
yours to be just as good, honestly. But again, I keep saying, as I know I repeat myself when I say you are very courageous. This is heavy. Women before our time, if they had a child or whatever, nobody would know about that child unless they were on their deathbed or some
Right.
crazy circumstance happened, and they had to
Yeah.
say it or whatever, or maybe the kid trying to find their mom, whatever. And for
Hmm.
you to be at your young age, because I'm older than you, to be up here telling your story, writing a book, having a documentary, and just putting it all out there, it's just you're a courageous person, in my opinion, because women
Hmm.
hide. This has been a thing for over,
Yes.
what, 100 years, hiding
Right.
and shame, whatever it might be, trauma, hiding it, bearing it deep. You're like, look, this is going to be a healing time. We're going to talk about it.
Yes.
Let's get
Yes.
into it. And you're
Hmm.
promoting healing, including therapy. People of color do not promote therapy. They say
Right.
go to church, talk to your auntie, grandma, whatever. And it's like, no, therapy is really good. And we as a as a people need therapy more than anybody, in
We
my
do.
opinion. So
Yeah.
much trauma for 400
Hmm.
over 400 years. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, the book, I know how you feel about your book and why you put it out there. What do you want people to take from documentary? And I know you don't know what they're going to show, but you know the basis of what you said. What is the takeaway you want people, women and men, from watching this documentary?
First, I want to say that shame, especially in the African American culture, is a
Mhm.
multi-generational process. We pass the shame down. And so, what I really want people to understand is the impact of shame on their life. And whether it's simple shame or complex shame,
Mhm.
that when we hold these types of secrets, it doesn't just impact one relationship or one small aspect of our life. It is a ripple effect that becomes a huge wave that impacts every single relationship and our work and our experience in life. And so, if one person releases a burden of a secret or shame, as a result of watching me be able to do it on national television,
Yes.
then, my work has been good.
Wow. That is a great girl. I'm just telling you. You are so healed, I can tell. Even when you're speaking about this story, you have the smile on your face,
Yeah,
and even you're just being so forgiving. Like, I love everybody involved, because some other people, let me just do the other side. This is what I do as a journalist.
right.
Would not be happy with their family. Just being
Mhm,
transparent. They would not
mhm.
be happy with the situation. If you're 15, you got to stay in the house with your parents because you're 15. You
Yeah,
can't do anything,
right.
right? But some people would have grew up and would have just left and not have anything to do with their parents. I'm not saying this against your parents in no kind of way. Like you said, she did what but other people might not have done what you've done and would have resented their parents for or family for the whole situation, because that's very traumatic to give up a child that you did not want to give it, or I'm not sure if you want to or not, but the decision was out of your hands regardless of what. And
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
just saying that would have turned people maybe angry, not healed, trauma. Who knows what they would have did in adulthood? And for you, you turned that into a triumph. You
Right.
turned it into how you healed
Yeah.
and teaching others to do that as well and passing it on, which, like I said earlier, is also a part of your healing as well. I just, I don't know how you did it, Mama. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. Like, I
Well,
don't know.
it's funny because I was speaking on stage, and when
Hmm.
I came off stage, a woman came up to me. She was
Okay.
a bit older than I
Hmm.
am, and she said, "I did the same thing to my daughter." And she said, "And my daughter has not spoken to me in, I don't know, 20 years, something like
Wow.
that." And the only thing I could say to her was, "Please have her read my book."
Mm,
I understand, the pain that she's going through and the pain that you're going through and
mhm,
her indignation of, "I did what I felt was the right thing,"
mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
Um, and so I think I know that forgiveness is a necessary tool, and I know people don't like that word forgiveness. It's hard to wrestle with that word. But for somebody out there, I love the quote by Lily Tomlin because her quote about forgiveness to me is one of the healthiest ones. And that is that forgiveness is giving up all hope of a better past. And I love that quote because it's not attached to anyone. So
Mhm.
many people want to hold on to something they have against someone else. But if they can give up all hope that the past could have been different, then they can move forward with a hope of a better future.
Yeah.
Because we know when we hold on to all of that anger and bitterness, what it does to our bodies, right? And if we can understand
Mhm.
that all behavior makes sense in its context, that means all your behavior, all my behavior,
Mm,
all our parents' behavior, all of our, perpetrators' behavior,
mm.
whatever, all
Yeah.
the behavior makes sense in its context. And I'm not excusing anybody from wrongdoing, but when we can understand that, understand what happened in people's lives and the temperament and personality they had and everything that happened, it makes complete sense why they do the things that they do. And then we can depersonalize things that happened to us because it wasn't about us,
Yeah.
right? It
Mhm.
was about something else. And we just happened to be caught up in that moment. And so if we can give up all hope of a better past, then we can move forward with that joy and that freedom. And so, in my book, I say that people often ask me, how can you smile? How can you be happy after
Mm.
everything you've gone through? And my answer is, I'll show you how, because it's possible. No matter what you've been through, no matter what's been done to you, you don't have to stay in that place. And so, I mean, that's why I wrote my book. That's why I tell my story. And I give an eight step path to healing your complex shame.
Let me ask you a transparent question. Did you
Mhm.
ever feel anything as far as not not happy towards your parents for doing this? Even though I know you
Absolutely.
okay. Oh,
Yes. So there, you cannot get to a place of healing unless you've been through
yeah.
something, right?
Gotcha, gotcha.
And so yes, I had to process all of that.
Mhm.
And we have to. I mean, anytime we feel anger, anger is just an emotion that says something has happened that's wrong. I've been wronged,
Right.
right? It's an emotion that sends us a message. Now, sometimes it's an accurate message and sometimes it's not.
Mhm.
And so when we can begin to untangle that, have they wronged me, or did they do something that they felt was right and I was hurt as a result?
Mhm.
And that happens. And
Mm.
and that's what happened in my family. And then sometimes people do intentionally wrong us, right?
Yeah.
And we have to still understand that wasn't about us.
Right.
And so the answer is it okay to be angry? Absolutely. Because anger just tells us something's wrong. But anger can be a motivator, an
Okay.
inciter for
Yeah.
change,
True.
right?
True. Very
Right.
true. Very true.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy you said that because you are a very healed place. But I want to ask you that not to because I have well, my dad's no longer here, but I had parents I grew up with, and it would have been hard for me to even say that. Like, was you mad at your parents? So you heard me kind of like I said about like I don't
Aw.
because like for me it's like they may see this. I'm like, don't get mad at me. So it's
Yeah.
like, do they know how you did? Okay, did you ever chance to tell them how you felt like about the whole
Dur-
situation?
During the anger phase,
Yes. Yes.
no, I did not
Okay.
tell them during the anger phase. Now,
Okay.
I have the benefit of living 3,000 miles away from my parents.
Hmm.
And my father is no longer here. And
Oh,
I
I'm so
don't
sorry.
think
Say with
that
mine.
yeah, thank you. I don't think that the anger phase for me, that I was really able to access it until after his death, because that's
Wow.
when all of the things went down, which is shared in the
Right. Of course.
episode.
Of course.
And so it really wasn't, because before then I was just stuck in this deep self-blaming,
Hmm.
shame. So it wasn't until after my father's death that I was really able to access the anger. And that's something I had to go through myself through my own therapy and work through. I had the conversation with my mom, but it was more of like a retrospective conversation where I
Right.
talked about how I felt, but I
Hmm.
wasn't in the anger at that moment when I had the
Okay.
conversation with my mom.
Do you think it was better for you to talk to her without? the anger behind it. Because when you're angry like that, it's a, I don't know, it's a different way to communicate because it's more anger and not necessarily your complete truth.
Yes. So I would have to say that in my situation, yes, it was better for me to be able to have the conversation with her without the anger. And that's not the same for everybody. It depends on the relationship. It depends on what happened. It depends on how culpable that person was, right? So I don't want people to assume that they need to kind of do every single thing I did. I just want them to understand that there is a path, right? And so for
Hmm.
some people, they may need to confront someone, especially when they're in a place where the thing is still happening, right?
Hmm.
It's one thing if it happened and now it's done. And so there are different ways that you should approach confronting somebody.
Agreed. Because a lot of time people approach with anger, and it
Yes.
just does not come out that well. Now, I want to talk about your book. As you guys can see, I have it on the screen. Obviously, it's Amazon, and
Hmm.
her book is not even honestly like expensive for what you're getting out of this book. You even get the audio book and the Kindle.
Right.
I just want you guys to see. Of course, like I said, I promote. This is what I do. Period. And it's a great. I love the blue.
Thank
That's
you.
that color is also. I know I was told it's a light. It's a healing. It's a really good
Hmm.
color that you chose. It was very smart, very strategic. Um, look at it, even just a little description here. An empowering invitation to leave complex shame behind. Forgive yourself
Right.
and live free from the burden of secrecy. I love it by license, period. Girl, I'm like, you look, I know you overachieve, baby, but that's something you should be very proud of, even though I know
Thank
why you were
you.
pushed to do that, but you are, girl. I love it.
Mm.
So with empathy and kindness of a loving best friend, Dr. Zoe Shaw helps us not only address our complex shame, but also untangle it so that it no longer binds us. Now that I
Amen.
love that whole statement. It's really
Yes.
very, very powerful. Just the way you did this whole situation to me is like, it's just, I don't know. It's nice to hear Black women who have gone through trauma, and a lot of us have
Yes.
gone through trauma, and to decide to turn it around and help others. It's something that I commend you for 100%. And I
Thank
know
you.
it's not really a reality TV show, it's a docu series. So
Mhm.
to see us in a different light, other than fighting and all the other things they have on
Right.
TV right now. It's just,
Yes.
it's really refreshing, to be honest, for me to cover this, because most of what I cover is reality TV or competition shows. But I love covering different things. That's just how I am as a journalist. I don't just do one thing, and I'm happy I'm this kind of
Mhm.
person. But your story is going to touch somebody, and the book will as well. Because I'm gonna put the book once I air this, it'll be in the description. They can click on it, order it. Please
Thank
go
you.
support this queen. Um, her, like I said, the book price, if you look at it, it's not that expensive, to be honest. I mean, Kindle 12.99, the audio book is 99. Right now it's a limited deal for $20.
Mhm.
So in my opinion, guys, go get the book, Heal, enjoy docu series. It's gonna be a really good thing. So, what is some your final thoughts about this? What your episode airs? What day? I'm sorry, I can't remember what you.
It airs October 18th, so
Oh,
next
very
Sunday.
close. Oh
Yeah, very soon.
wow. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Well, for me next
Yeah.
Saturday. I watch it next Saturday.
Oh,
So,
right. Okay.
what? How are you feeling? You're a week away from this going on air for your family and friends and other people who don't know are gonna watch it. Just how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling just kind of a calm excitement. So I'm
Mm,
actually going to be out of town. I'm going to not probably even be present when it airs, but I have a close friend of mine that's going to be recording it, and we might be able to kind of watch it on FaceTime together. So, I like I said, if it helps one person, then it was worth it. And so I'm looking forward to it in just kind of a calm way, if that makes sense. And
yes,
really, I just want to get the message out to the world. And I know the secret is interesting, I guess, and the whole process. And, there's plenty of things that I did not disclose here today
of
that
course, of
make
course,
it,
of course.
a little more just interesting. Like, I've lived a very interesting life. Let's put it that way.
Well, do you have wait? First of all, you can watch it on your phone. Do you not have
Oh,
Philo?
I don't have Philo. What's Philo?
Philo is a streaming service,
Hmm.
and no one else streams on. You can literally, and I think it's $22 a month. It's like really cheap, but
Okay.
get Philo, and you'll be able to watch it
Oh,
live wherever you're at.
okay.
Yes, ma'am, on your
Okay.
phone. I have to
That's
do this as a
awesome.
journalist. I have to have apps on my phone to watch these shows so I can talk about them or whatever. But yes, you can watch it on your phone while you're out of town. DVR it on your phone. It's a really cool app, and
That's
you can just
really cool.
yes, ma'am. I would download it and get it set up so you don't miss it on
Yeah.
FaceTime. And I want you to be able to watch it yourself wherever you're sitting it, comfortable. So yes,
Yeah.
please.
Thank you for telling me about it. And actually, you're right. It comes out Saturday, not Sunday, because it's
Yes,
October 18th. Yeah.
it'll be live. I
Right.
think 7 o'clock. I can start watching it on my phone. So please do
Okay.
that. Yeah, do that so you can. I don't want you to miss it. FaceTime it. It's not the way you should be watching this episode.
Yes, you're right. Okay, I will do Philo. Thank you for telling me about it.
No problem. Well, I want to say thank you for coming on here and telling your story. I look forward to watching your story on next Saturday, and I'm probably going to talk about it with Chaz from Ready to Love Dallas. He joined me last
Awesome.
week, and we talked
Mhm.
about it, and so he's going to join me again next weekend. And I
Well,
already told him
wonderful.
yes, he does. I do commentary with different cast members from different shows, but he was really got into this series. We both talked about it a couple days ago, and we're going to discuss your episode next week. So tune in if you would like.
Okay, I will definitely tune into that. Thank you so much, Kamisha. I'm so thrilled to be on your show.
Yes, ma'am, Queen. Thank you so much for your time. You have a great rest of your evening. Stay healed, stay blessed, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great work. That's all I gotta
Thank
say.
you. Thank you.
All right, guys. This is Kamisha Reviews, the Queen of Reality TV. Again, I will have the link to the book in the description if you cannot just take it from what's on the screen, but I will have it in the description. You just click on the link, and then I also will have her Instagram as well in the link so you guys can follow her and follow her updates and what she has going on. All right, with that being said, this is Kamisha Reviews, Queen of Reality TV. One thing I want you guys to know, and that nothing that will never change about this, I am the queen of reality TV. Don't get it twisted and don't doubt it. It is what it is. Period. Thank you again for doing this. You see how it's bigger right there. So
Yeah.
I'm like 140 right now. So
Wow.
last year or right around Thanksgiving, I had got up, honestly, and had made this gigantic breakfast, eggs, bacon, all kind of stuff, and I'm watching TV.
Yeah.
And I ate the bacon, and my mouth got a little numb. I told my fiance, I said something is not right. He rushes me to the emergency room, and so he comes in. He says she's talking, but it sounds it's like numb or
Slurred.
something numb. Slurred. Sorry, I don't know what I said. Well, it felt numb to me.
Yeah.
I'm giving my feelings, not the sound, but yes,
Right.
slurred. And they said they rushed me in. I don't think I even signed paperwork, and started asking me questions and all this kind of stuff. And then they could put me to the MRI, all these machines. Nothing. Everything was good. It said my cholesterol was super high, and so I was like, okay, I got to make a decision about what I'm about to do right now because this is scary.
Yep.
I got home and got rid of everything.
Wow.
Food, like food to me, from my research, my Black people use food as so much, but it's an enemy to us. And so for me, I eat salmon, codfish, organic chicken with no salt, turkey meat. If I do eat chicken, it can't have any skin on it. When I say that I am so particular, my family thinks, because when Black people do all the kind of stuff, it's like, oh my God, you're doing too much. My family, I'm doing too much.
Yep.
I've gotten it so many times. You're too small. I love it. It's media fast. I eat once a day. I completely changed my whole lifestyle. I have a whole gym in my studio with my computer and everything. I changed everything. And the thing about it was a healing process for me as well, because I would eat out every day. I would order food, just excessive things. And I haven't eaten out in over a year.
Wow.
I haven't ate salt in over a year. No sodas in over a year. No desserts in over a year. And I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm just being honest. And so people come to me like they're Black, like, girl, you got too small. I bet my people, I said Louisiana, in my family, I've been kind of a little criticized, where they're like, oh, you know what? I'm still recording. Hold on. Even though they know